Hello there, fellow modders. We will be continuing from when we left it at the last video number 3. So this will be video number 4, and we will try to do a custom status effect to give to our carrion bird. And we will also look at text, editing text with PoEdit, and also creating new rows for lines for the text, new entries, sorry, for the text. But let's go into it. Let's continue where we left it. And as we saw, we could use this summon effect to actually target some corpses, to consume those corpses, and to summon our fleshy little bird. And the thing is that apparently no, it's not category, but a category. And so I will try to say my best to say category the next time we encounter this word. And yeah, for now, we're going to be looking at how to do a custom status effect, and then we will link it here in the summon property instead of plain property, which does nothing, I guess. We could quickly look at it. Yeah, it doesn't seem to do anything, I guess. Indeed, actually, it's a type, unit property plain. Interesting. So it's a special type of property that does nothing, and it has nothing in the data. Interesting. Okay, but this is useful because maybe there are other properties here. I'm not seeing it. No, these are very, very special properties that we won't be really using. We will use a different RPK as a template then. Let's search for it. I do know that, for example, strengthened can be applied up to 5 times, and it's also a positive status effect. And our own status effect, which will be hunger, will basically be that, a 5 stackable positive effect. So let's try to use strengthen as a template. And for that, we're going to use the resource browser, which we haven't used just yet. But it's really, really useful for searching for specific things and finding where those specific things are stored in which specific .rpk files are. So once it has loaded that, let's look for strengthen, and maybe indeed it appears here. There's a magical tactical unit effect property. This is what we're looking for. There's also the status description. This is very important. All those different elements are what constitutes an actual status effect, and we will be copying that to do our own. And then if you click go to, in theory, in the resource editor, it has already opened up the specific RPK, the strength that is stored in. And as you can see here, it says resources below 376. It says that what you're, in theory, what you have selected, it's down there. Not really, but it still appears here marked in yellow or orange, so that's fine. Apparently this simply tells how many elements there are on top or below. That's fine. Yeah, we're going to simply grab all of this. Some for strengthen, there will be times where we want to apply it under, not directly, but as a chance. So then we will be doing some little things with these extra effects, but for now let's not worry about that. And Yeah, let's not worry about that for now and simply grab this. And we're going to put this in a different page because that's what they do. Well, they don't do it in Tomes, I believe, because they don't add new effects in Tomes, but I do in my own. And I usually try to separate them and have them in their own little page just for better organization. Whoopsies. Let's rename this to status effect hunger. Hunger. Let's also say it's positive. Positive. Why not? Then let's paste. And as we always do, we can change the name. And instead of strengthened, it will be hunger. Okay, very good. And then let's save. And here we can see that the first property that we find, it's a magic property tag. Okay, and it tells which type of property type is. This kind is physical. There's also options for magical ones. I believe most use this physical tag. Let's not change that, but we will change the text. That we will change. And I don't know, but let's see. Status, maybe? Not in status. In unit property. In unit property, this was where I put it, unit property. And as you can see, I set this little link to hunger, to the string called hunger. Let's go next to the tactical unit effect property. This is the actual effect. There's also a data store tag that has all these little values available to it, as we saw in the previous video. This can be referenced in the text, as we will see just after we finish this. And because we maybe will be using this, let's change it to hunger. And indeed, let's copy this. And we will quickly go and change all of these tags because it will be faster this way now that we already know what we're doing. I'm changing all these strengthened strings for hunger. Okay, now everything is called hunger instead of strengthened, and the rest is the same because it's the under the same type tag. So now, in theory, not here because this is using this one. But if we go, no, yeah, let's change that so you will see how it also updates here. As you can see, it whenever we are using this data store tag, we also can get these little, let's say, references or hyperlinks or whatever, and they appear as strengthened and weakened because they are linked. These two properties are linked. Whenever you create a status effect, you can also link an opposite property that we'll be looking in a sec. So for now, since it's this is not linked to this, but instead it's linked to the original strengthened in share modifiers unit properties. So it's appearing like that. So we'll change that, and instead of using the category from status effects, we'll be using the hunger one from status effects hunger, and the description from status effects hunger. There was only one option because there's only one type of magic status effect description in this file, and this RPK is not linked to other RPKs with these with such properties or such categories. Okay, now that we've done that, let's switch to this. We can set whether this effect is a body or a mind one. We're going to leave it at like that. Oh no, this is the property to give. Okay, so this is the actual effect. And usually what they do is create an Age of Wonders unit property group that takes all the different effects into a single group. And this group is what the status effect description also contains. So the status effect guaranteed is what gives the effect, gives all the effects in the group, and this element it's stored in the status effect description, or at least it's referenced there. So let's change that to hanga hanga and status effect guaranteed. Okay, tooltip behavior manual, we're not going to change any of that. We're going to also leave this like that. Duration type, here is where we set how many or how much the actual effect will last. And here you can set it to strategic to only last until the end of combat to make it permanent. Even if the unit moves, we can remove that. But number three turns is fine. It's like what the standard is, so let's leave it like that. Yeah, this is important whenever some things trigger, depending on whether it's your turn or not. Let's leave it like this. We are fine with that. And here we have what the status effect is defined by. And in this case, what they are doing is they are giving it a body property type. They are also giving the strengthened property type. This strengthened property type was the first property type, uh, just that we changed it. Let's change it to the one we are using now instead. And it's also using a status effect dispellable, which is broken here because apparently we don't have the link to it. If we wanted this effect to be dispellable, I guess we should also add it there, but we don't. Let's look at how or where it is grabbing it from, so we can also grab it. So we will have to make a new link because we want to be consistent with how the game works. And since this is a status effect that doesn't, that should be dispellable, I don't see why not. Then we will look at how they do it. Okay, let's go to the description. Going to say create mod just to look what's inside here. And also I'm going to right click and go to resource. And apparently, okay, it's here, right here, inside the same share modifier unit properties. So let's just use that. Let's go to content and resource packed, sure. And let's look for these shared unit properties. Shared, hello, shared modifiers. Why you're not finding anything? Shared. There we go. Share modifier unit properties. This is the one. And now, in theory, it should appear. Should be available as a property. Because for some reason, and it doesn't. How? Or why? This is a magic property type. It's the same one. Share modifiers, unit properties. Share modifiers, unit properties, RPK. So in theory, it should be there. Dispellable? I am blind or not? Huh. Very strange behavior. It's okay, let's leave it like that and let's continue. This won't be dispellable apparently, we have changed our mind. And now it's not dispellable because it's eternal hunger and nothing dispels eternal hunger. See? We have solved the issue. Okay. We will not be using these visualizations for now. We could. We're not going to mess with that. Max stacks is 5, is exactly what we wanted. We will allow stacking, and a stacking will refresh timer. That's fine. Here on expire auto spell link category, we would add different new effects. So let's say our effect is has different steps. We could set like the timer to be like only one turn, and after one turn it triggers a different effect, and after one turn that effect could also have an unexpired auto spell link and trigger another. So like the battle stances from Total War, from the barbaric berserker units, something like that. That would be fun. And this will leave it like that. We won't be changing any target filtering because we want this effect to, at least for now, affect all units. Maybe we'll change that in the future. We don't want any opposing property that can dispel this effect because there's no escape from the eternal hunger. And then here you can set some extra random properties that are coupled together with this property. We won't be setting any of that. The AI data is correct. Let's continue. Here we have to set the name and description of the status effect. Property, name, and then property description. Okay, that's done. We are going to leave all of this like that, except this, because we don't want to be using this large icon link. Instead, we'll be using our own. We will use one icon that's already in the game, but to do so, we have to set it here. Hunger, it's in status effects, property icon. Everything here will leave the same, but not these, because this is the property group, the list of things that this effect is granting. And we don't want strengthened ability modifier. This is the actual strengthened effect. And in our case, we want to use our own hunger ability modifier. So we will remove that. And yeah, we will leave the positive status effect countable. So it can count as positive status effect for special types of spells that do count those. And what do we want with strengthened? I'm sorry, for with hunger. The effects of hunger are one physical attack and then one life link, or yeah, life link, or I'm not sure how it's called in this game. Life steal, yeah, one life steal. Let's look if they are here. Maybe we can directly apply them here. So it was physical. Here we have yeah, we already have some physical damage properties set for us, and also categorized in both melee and range. And hunger makes sense to give more melee damage, but not the range damage. Doesn't make much sense there. So let's go with that. Let's go with this melee strike +1, and then let's try to find life steal. Here we have life steal. The only problem is that I'm pretty sure that if we go there and in the repeating property, there's chances that it's stronger than what we want. And if we look, this is using this modifier. Let's look at the modifier, and the modifier is using this special ability modifier called life steal. By the way, all attacks are considered abilities, therefore they use ability modifiers. And here it says that mean amount to health is 5, but we don't want that. We simply want uh, 1 damage. So apparently we're going to have to use the own custom lifesteal property. Let's see what we need. Do we need the property group? What's the property group listing? It's listing the single property, this one, right? Yeah, and the repeating property. This single property is the one that uh, selects which abilities the effect will trigger. Here it says for many of those. Maybe we don't want that. We want our own. And what is this single modifier doing? Ooh, this is a strong one. Minimum to health 10. Why? Why are there like repeating? Okay, yeah, I get it. So this lifesteal property group has 2 modes. Like it grants for repeating attacks 5 lifesteal, whereas by single attacks it grants 10 lifesteal. And we can see that because in the repeating property, it's probably filtering for exactly here. It's filtering for repeating, and instead here the single property is filtering for single action. I guess. So here we have the decision, the design decision of do we allow single actions to be stronger, for example, with our own hunger stack, so that, for example, shock units do more damage with our hunger to account for the fact that they attack only a single time. We could do so. Mm, because we at least let's grab all of this so we have the flexibility to do it to be able to fine tune this effect for our mod. So let's just grab all of that and we're going to paste it here. And instead of lifesteal, let's call it a little bit different. Did I call it before? Life link. No, let's call it hunger drain, maybe. Hunger drain. It doesn't really matter because it will probably done. Users won't really be seeing that. So instead of life steal, we're going to call it hunger drain, just so that we know that it's not the same property as the others. We're going to leave this like that because there's probably a chance that it simply tells that it takes damage and then it applies a different it heals the unit. So but what we're going to do is we could change that, I guess. Yeah, because if not, then references to this will conflict with already existing property. So let's change that. Instead, let's say hunger drain, and let's copy that and change it for everything. This means that if they in these little text descriptions they will be still using the values from the original lifesteal instead of our own. Maybe we can create our own little new property so that they reference the correct ones. That will have to be done later. Okay, let's save. Okay, let's leave that like that. They are for some reason here using vision, Farsight vision icon. That's not really what they will be using. They are not really displaying this to anyone, so that's why I think that this is not really important. they are not really displaying these icons. They simply put something here for testing purposes. What we're going to really change is this. The lifesteal will be instead hunger drain and will be used both in the single and the repeating properties. Then, then we are going to switch to the repeating property. We are going to instead use the repeating modifier of hunger drain. That's done. Everything here will live just like that. Now, we don't want ranged weapons or magic weapons to trigger this effect because this hunger is barely melee oriented. We want savage beasts attacking with their claws and maws and yeah, getting close in and personal. So let's remove that. This effect will only be important for melee users. After all, it's hard to bite someone from a distance. So yeah, let's do that. Let's also change the repeating property. Everything here will probably, the repeating modifier, everything here will probably be the same. We don't really want to change much here except for this. Instead of 5, we want it to be 1 because we'll be stacking this. So in the end, it will be quite strong, but not quite so. Not quite so. And we will do the same with the single property, hunger. Single modifier. Okay, and again, we don't want this for range, nor for magic. And we only care about the amount to heal. They use the double, how's it called? Proportion. So one was 5, the other is 10. It's double. So let's say we do the same, and let's double it to 2. To be consistent, I have saved that. And now that we have our own hunger drain effect, which is a life steal effect of our own, we can go back to status effect guaranteed and instead use that. Let's look for it. Hunger drain, and we're going to use the property group. We could instead use the single or repeating. So there, we find that it's too strong on repeating units or units that attack many times, or that we don't want it for shock units. We could change that. But for now, let's use the property group that then takes those two things into account. What else? What else? The ability modifier. Okay. Here we have again the icon that we are going to, but we're going to use our own. Yeah. Okay. Everything here will leave us the same. And here we have a modifier, a multiplier. In fact, we're actually not using anymore this ability modifier because we have bypassed that. We're directly adding stuff into this property group. This modifier is what changes the damage of the, is what actually makes strengthened actually do stuff. Meaning multiplying your damage by a certain amount, in this case 10%. But our effect is very different. Our effect is directly apply some damage, raw damage, not as percentage based. So we don't need really this, and neither we need this because this was using the multiplier. So in reality, first let's save and then let's erase. Many times if you don't save before erasing rows, the links aren't properly set or set in stone, so then they can break. So it's better to save prior to that. And finally, we are going to define what status effect icon we are going to use, and we are going to use There's one with a mo, I believe, but I'm not sure how's it called. So we're going to quickly look for it and see if we can find something that looks proper. I didn't find it here. Maybe it's not on passive unit properties. Let's go for properties. Not here. How interesting. I thought there were many more. Status effect. I'm sure there are many more. But they are not like this. Yeah, I know why. They are not like these little circular ones, but they are the square ones. The square ones, where are they? Maybe on gameplay. And abilities passive. Let's look for that. Not these ones. These are a bit too big. Property. Unit properties. Now we're talking. Yeah, I knew there was some. And here it is. The bloodlust. I think this will be pretty fitting. And let's use that. Maybe it's not exactly the right type of icon, but okay, for now we don't care. As long as it's thematic, and maybe in the future we can do a proper circular icon. But now we do have a hunger, or we should have a hunger status effect, and we can grant it by granting this effect property. Usually it's what they use. They grant this effect property that has a specific description attached to it, that has a specific effect attached to it, or property group, so group of effects. All right, so now that we have a status effect, let's go back to our unit, which will be, or rather to our tactical spell and to our summon effect. And this summon effect, if you can recall, there was here a summon property. And if we hover this, it says a property to link to the summoned unit. So we can link properties to the unit. What is a property? In this case, if we look for hunger, it's listing here because it knows that in this page there will be something we can link to. In this case, a property, and indeed there's a property that we can assign. We can assign the hunger drain, so we could directly assign hunger drain because it's its own property. It's because hunger has its own property, but it has properties inside it. So that you can really make very huge properties that have lots of properties inside one another. But in this case, we're going to use hunger, the status effect guaranteed. Sometimes stuff uses directly properties. Sometimes stuff uses these other ones, the tactical units effects. So some spells ask for this, some spells ask directly for the property group. It's okay. As long as you have everything set up, you can directly grab one thing or the other. So if everything is working fine, now let's go back to spells, tactical spells. Yeah. Now this, sorry, carrion bird should be spawning with a single hunger effect, a status effect, a single hunger. Let's try it. Let's try it if it's actually true. It's possible that it doesn't work because we linked something in the wrong way. We don't know. I believe we can simply continue from the last battle, as the new summon should summon with the new effect. Or rather, the old summon should summon with the new effect. So let's say continue and say yes. And then let's stop the combat right when we want it. And then there we go, and then let's summon the carrion bird. And it's there. Let's see if it does have hunger. And it doesn't have hunger. But that's fine. You'll see why in a second, once I know why. Maybe we need to reset the combat. We will see. We will see. Alright, coming back from the future. I've been looking at what could be the cause for why our special status effect wasn't displaying in the carrion bird, and I believe the issue was here in the display children. It was set to true. I changed that to false, and it's a thing that it's always a little bit iffy or delicate, if you want, because all these different status effects have internal status effects, and simply linking them, whereas for other elements, other types, that's perfectly fine, and there's usually there isn't any problems. But for status effects, since they have a special display display properties, and then whenever many of them are set to true, and then the actual game doesn't know what to do, and when it doesn't know what to do, it doesn't even work. It doesn't display and doesn't work. So by changing that to false, and we will be using the display from, I believe, here. Yeah, this will be the one that is going to display, the one that's using the hunger icon that we set, this one. But the others, the internal ones, the child properties, we don't want them to show, so we will set them to false. And I've also gone and just as a safety measure, I've changed this stacked with self in the repeating modifier and the single modifier, change both from false to true, stacked with self, just to ensure that maybe having multiple copies of it wasn't stacking, and maybe that was a logic problem. And in theory now, if we go back and try the fight again, let's try with that. In theory now it will show. I've already tested and it was working. And I've also tried that if the life drain effect was also active. Oh yeah, here I was trying it. If the life drain was working, as you can see, it does do 1 more damage, not just 10, but 1 more. It does have the life steal. Here it has the hunger, but let's actually see the effect, the trigger. So let's load this one instead. And let's quickly, I believe we have the spell here. We do. Let's quickly fight this to see how summoning the carrion bird also has, if the summoned carrion bird also has the status effect hunger that we have just created. Here the AI decides to push the enemies away, thus making the attack harder. Very intelligent. Obviously not. But in the end it does kill a unit. And we're going to stop right there. And as you can see, we can target this corpse. A carrion bird is successfully summoned, and a carrion bird does have the little icon with the hunger. So this does work. As I said, maybe these status effects are the most complicated thing because of this thing, these issues with displaying and displays. I don't even properly know or understand fully this concept. But since it works, let's leave it like that and don't question it. And now what we're going to do is, since we don't want to just give it one stack of hunger, we're going to need a specific a new here a new property, summon property to give not directly the hunger, but a different one that has 3 of them. So what we need is an Age of Wonders unit property group, but one that has 3 stacks of hunger. And since we're on status effects, let's do one of those. Let's add it here. Why not? And let's call it status effect times 3, guaranteed. And here, instead of all of these, we're going to keep the positive. Although maybe we don't even need that. We're going to use the hunger effect property, or we could simply use the status effect 3 times. Yeah, the property group, that's the hunger drain. No, yeah, the hunger. Let's add 3 hungers, since we already have it. And this hunger status effect times 3 will add 3 hungers. Hopefully they will stack. We will now see if the stack data we set is actually working or not. Now that we have this, we will also not display. Let's set this to false, because I believe it will clash with the existing ones. The one that will be displayed is the individual hunger, not this global group. So let's set to false. Let's set also this to hunger tripled. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And then over back to the scent of flesh. Let's change that to, instead of hunger status effect, let's change to times 3. Let's save that. Let's save again. Let's load the game. And hopefully we will see a carrion bird with... Yeah, I believe resume will bring us back to where we could cast, or very close to where we could cast the corpse ability. And yeah, hopefully we will see how the carrion has 3 stacks of hunger, not just 1. Let's say yes. Entering combat, loading combat, moving the AI, and stop right there. Okay. The animations, and let's cast. Interestingly enough, it doesn't have the 3 stacks. So let me check, just like I did before. It's probably one of those display things where it really needs to be set properly, and if not, it doesn't work. Alright, I'm here again after like what has been an hour of trying stuff, and apparently from my tests, it is not really possible to add here on the property lists more than one single property. Yeah, more than one single unit property group. You can't add those. So I've actually tested with strengthened. Well, and before that I also tried to see if it was a problem with displays or not, but it didn't seem so. What I've done though is I've changed the hunger, the property group times 3. I've changed it to auto stack +1. Why? Because we will do a different a different thing. We're going to, instead of giving three stacks of hunger at the same time, which apparently we can't, we're going to give hunger over time. And we're going to make it so that it gets 1 stack of hunger at the end of, or at the start of its turn. Yeah, let's go with start of its turn. So how are we going to do that? Now the idea will be that the carrion bird comes with wherever we have set the scent of flesh, eats the corpse, and then gets like infected with this eternal hunger, and it starts to grow inside it and wants to attack other targets. So how we do that? We're going to use auto spells. I was going to show this in a future episode, but since we can't do what we have in mind, let's already start working with auto spells. And as you can see, in the auto stack +1, I've linked this other property, which will be a Age of Wonders unit property auto spell. You can create that by simply looking for it. If you type property auto spell, and it's this one right here. And once you have that, we won't touch anything of this except here. We will add the caster targeter. We will create that in a sec. What we're going to make sure is that it's set to start of turn. And the caster targeter will be a magic tactical unit targeter caster. So this is a special kind of targeter that affects the one that casts a spell. Since we're using an auto spell, the unit, meaning the unit is casting this spell automatically, it means that it also becomes a caster. And since this targeter targets the caster, this means that it will target itself. Here we will say friendlies only, not that it matters, but we can set that to friendlies only. And what we could do is here we could add simply an effect in the effects section. We can add an effect property. We could add here like 5, and it will work. I've tested. Usually you can stack pretty easily whatever effect properties. Here there's no problem. The problem seems with the groups, the property groups. You can stack those, at least not through the summon effects properties. Seems you can't. But anyway, we can create this auto spell, which will use this caster targeter, which applies this effect, in this case hunger effect property. And once we have that, we can link it back here in the event targeters. Okay, so the auto spell will use the target, the caster targeter, and once that is done, we can go back and add the auto spell to the list, to this property group. And once that's done, we can go to the tactical spells and add it into the summon effect, and yeah, and in theory it will spawn with this like hidden variable that continuously gives 1 stack of hunger. In fact, we could actually like create here, like create a specific screen name and set it to true to display, but let's not overcomplicate things. We will set that in the description, and simply we will tell the users, the players, that this Scarian bird is special and gets one extra hunger at the start of the turn. And yeah, once that's done, let's actually try it to see it does apply at the start of the turn. I'm going to press play here to load the start of the turn. I actually have one where it's everything right when we already have a corpse. Quick save, I believe it's this one. Let me see. Yeah, I know there's conflicts. That's fine. It should still work. And we're going to target the corpse. And right now it won't have any hunger, but if we wait one turn and the enemy units act, you see right there was a trigger of a hunger, and now it does have hunger. So this should trigger each turn. Let's make sure. Let's try again. And again, a new hunger stack. And it does stack. There's ×2 hunger. Let's see how it restores health. It should restore 2 health by attack. In this case, it's restoring 3 health. Huh. I know why. I think I know why. So maybe I didn't actually save. And in this auto stack, maybe I wasn't. Yeah, I believe I wasn't. I had here one stack of hunger, so it does seem to be stacking. But since we had it to not display, it wasn't displaying. I believe that now that we have saved, it should only stack no affect only those that stack through the auto spell. Yeah. But anyway, the thing is that now that we have an auto stacking hunger effect, what we can do with the time, we don't have much time, so let's real quick change the description, because right now it's not using the proper text, and for that I'm going to going to go to the mods, into the hunger, this yeah, here inside the language folder, we will be editing the PO file with the PO edit. I hope that you had grabbed that. If not, go and download it. And once we open that, we will see something like this. The important part is that here we have the references, and here we have the text that those references are referencing. So what we have to do is that, let's see, eternal hunger. See, here we have that can be stacked up to X times. We didn't set that, but we can set that. There are like 2 types of text links we can do in the game. There's like these ones here. Let me show you. These ones here, in theory, should grab these values. Okay. So if you copy to clipboard all of this, let's go back to here, and let's say we paste it here. Instead of X, it will say wherever we have here. In this case, it's something about health proportion healed. It doesn't matter for us. Then there's another type of reference that it's something that we can simply input ourselves inside the editor, like a stack. Here I'm going to write hunger stacks. Why that? Because, well, no, actually, this one I believe it does appear. Let's actually look at this. Yeah, here it does have a max stack. So let's just copy that, because once if for whatever reason we change that, it will also change here, and also we change here. So let's change that, and in theory it will show properly. Then here I have a Y about the physical damage that it's applying. I set it to Y, but we actually want a number there. How much damage is actually applying. As you can see, even though we are giving here one physical damage, it's not appearing in our list. So what we're going to do is, instead of that, we're going to use our own custom, let's say, reference. Some things we can reference, some things we can't. For things we can't, we use these special variables. Let's say physical damage or damage. And we will save that in a sec. And then as per the lifesteal, maybe we can grab that from hunger drain. Here we have the max heal and minimum heal. We'll probably be we could use either of those, but let's use the minimum heal. And actually, since we have a property for repeating and for single, maybe we'll have to edit this a little bit more. So let's say plus hunger drain repeating minimum health, global properties, new life steal, just to mark that it's using the life steal effect. And then we're going to say this for repeating attacks. And then we're going to add another bullet, because this is all encased in a bullet list. So let's create another one, and we'll copy this, and instead we're going to say for single attacks. Okay, attacks. And then yeah, also I'm going to add here melee. The same is true for here, because that's what it's actually applying to. And then this we're going to change, because we're not using the repeating property, but the single one. And we're going to use this minimum health right here. Okay. Then we're going to save. And once that's saved, it means it will generate a .mo file. We'll compile this PO into an MO. And then we're going to actually restart this, because if not, going to save just in case, but if not, it's not going to populate with the new changes. So we're going to reopen the resource editor, open recent files, Nothing here because I opened a bunch of things previously. And done, not a problem. We can quickly go and grab it. And hopefully, once it loads, it will correctly appear here. We will have to set this value that we couldn't actually grab from the editor. Let me show you this physical damage, that we'll have to input ourselves manually. And then under status effects, here in the description, there we go, this one. There's no other descriptions, I believe. No, it's only here. Here, in this little list, these ones will be acted, in theory, automatically, will be generated automatically, but not this one. This one we're going to change to +1, unless we already have a plus sign there. If we have a plus sign there, we don't need another. So let's just add 1. Then we will say OK and save. And hopefully, now whenever we look at the hunger definition, description in game, we will see the new edits. And we will leave it like right there because yeah, this video is already quite long. So in the end, we couldn't do the carrion bird right as we had envisioned at the beginning, but that's fine. It's also fun like this. It gets infected with the eternal hunger. And let's look at hunger here. And not here, but in hunger. Now it is appearing correctly, and here it says +1 physical damage. This +1 is the one that we had to manually input. I see that I had already added the melee definition, so we didn't need to add that. We are going to instead erase this and reuse this for these 2 melee references. And the lifesteal for repeating and +2 lifesteal for single, these are correct. They are grabbing it from their respective modifiers. This from repeating and this from single. So yeah, I believe we can leave it like that. I'm going to do this real edit real quick. You can do so too. And in the next video we will start working on a different skill. Maybe we will summon the little piggies or something. We will see. Okay, see you on the next time.